Hello, gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Final Countdown. I'm pleased to announce this week that I have an actual logo for this show in production. Hopefully, I'll have it ready to use for next month's show. Stay tuned. In the meantime, this week on the Final Countdown, we're going to count down the top 5 animated Disney villains. These animated Disney villains can be from Disney animated films, whether that be from the standard 54, I believe it's now 55 with Big Hero 6, Walt Disney production animated films, whether it be from the direct-to-TV films, whether it be from direct-to-DVD sequel films, whether it be from TV shows themselves. As long as it's something Disney and animated, it counts.
As long as it wasn't Marvel, which also includes Big Hero 6 or Star Wars.
Yes, but Big Hero 6 was made by Walt Disney, the actual Walt Disney Studio. It wasn't made by Marvel Studios, so I would count that.
But it's based on Marvel.
It is, but I wasn't going by what it was based on. I was going by what it was produced by.
They're all produced by Disney, technically.
Yes, but there are many companies within Disney. Remember this. Disney has many various production companies under the overall banner of the Walt Disney Company. That's what differentiates different types of Disney movies. But anyway, as you can see,
I can take Spider-Man because it was on Phileas and Ferb.
Okay then. Anyway, so yes, as you can see, joining me from the Mole is Chris, aka the Mole.
And hello.
Over there from the Shadows Mall, Marcus Shadows here.
What's up?
And from Pew Pew Productions, Anastasia Lazerbeam is here.
Woo!
Mm-hmm. With what appeared to be Elva's hair before she turned off her camera.
Hey, I have really big bangs but really short sides of my hair, so that's kind of how it goes.
Well, you cut it that way.
I didn't personally cut it that way, but you know.
Well, no, but you told the guy or girl to cut it that way.
I told them to make it nice, okay, and just cut a little bit, like in outward layers and stuff. So I didn't really give them specifics.
Okay then. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start our countdown here. Should be a rather interesting list. I will go first with the number 5 villain on my list. I'm starting off with the TV villain. So, in my opinion, I was thinking back toward a lot of the Disney shows I had watched, because there have been a lot of good villains in those, and they often get disregarded in favor of the more memorable Disney film villains. And I thought to my mind immediately went to my favorite Disney cartoon show, and the villains that were in there, and one villain particularly stuck out in my mind as being one who kind of deserved to be on this list. And that is, from Darkwing Duck, the evil Taurus Bulba. This dude was evil. Number 1, he's voiced by Tim Curry. That inherently makes you evil. Number 2, the fact of the matter is, this dude was the first villain that Darkwing Duck ever faced in the show. He was the villain in the pilot, Darkly Dawns the Duck. He didn't make that many appearances, but he was known for being generally the most evil and intimidating of the villains that Darkwing faced, because let's be perfectly honest, most of Darkwing Duck's rogues gallery are a bunch of jokes. Megavolt, Bushroot, these guys were not they were threats, but they were not exactly to be taken seriously. With the obvious exception of Negaduck, because Negaduck, and even that was an if. But Taurus Bulba was a frightening, scary dude. Like, it was and for a Disney cartoon, a lighthearted Disney cartoon, it was inferred that this dude outright didn't do it himself, but he outright ordered the murder of Gosalyn's grandfather because he wanted to steal his machine. It's he tried to kill Darkwing. He tried to murder Gosalyn by throwing her off a building at one point. And generally, he's also the only villain that Big Tough Gosalyn is he's the only villain that she's really afraid of, because all the others she makes jokes about, and always wants to go out and help Darkwing. This is the one dude that she's terrified of, and even Darkwing came close to getting defeated by this guy more than most of the others. And it's the one and Darkwing was at his most badass when fighting this guy, because even I remember in that pilot when they showed him as they showed him he was kind of a joke or whatever, and even Launchpad came to help them in the Thunderquack. But where Taurus Bulba was just finally just about to just kill Gosalyn, and that's That's when Darkwing would feel badass. And he was like, no, and the smoke just went like everywhere. And he was like, and that's when he started throwing the speech out. And he was like, I am the Dark that flaps in the night, and whatever. It was like, oh, that's kind of, and that's when you could tell that he meant it that time, and it was really kind of badass seeing Darkwick being less of a joke and more of an actual badass hero on occasion. And normally it was when he was fighting this dude. At the same time, not only was that scary, but then you could argue he could go in possibly in one of two different directions with the change that happened after his first appearance. Was after he supposedly it was thought that he died in an explosion, but no, he was found by the agents of the evil organization known as Foul. And they turned him into a cyborg. Because cyborg. In which case he had a variety of assorted inventions, and I know you can't see in this picture, but one of his items is a cannon. And he was still evil, and then that's when he just went out on his later appearances, was just outright psychotic and hell-bent on just killing Darkwing Duck in revenge. Like, he didn't even care about plans anymore. He just like lost his mind. It's like, dear God. So yeah, that dude was freaking creepy and intimidating and evil. So, Taurus Bulba.
Nice.
So, who wants to go next?
No, you throw to someone. It's your show.
I know, I'll just ask if anybody would like to go next. Right, we'll go with the order that I introduced everybody then. So, next, Mole.
Okay. I just check. I am audible.
You are audible.
Number 5. Boom! From a Disney TV show, I give you Demona.
Nice.
Because, hands down, the greatest villain from Gargoyles. Because she was sympathetic, because you understood why she was the way she was, because of the whole backstory of being left behind there. And at the same time, she sort of had the Catwoman dynamic of being a love interest for Goliath, and she was good, and she was evil, and she was evil, and she had a daughter, and it was just great. She was just an all-round great villain. Like, if an episode focused on her, it was one of the best episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And
so I went with Demona.
Yeah, and I didn't really watch that show that closely, but if I'm not mistaken, wasn't she like the only villain in that show that wasn't redeemed at some point by the end of it?
Sort of, although she was kind of redeemed throughout, but then kept not being redeemed, so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She got unredeemed.
Yeah, but I liked her, Demona.
Yeah.
Very
She was
nice.
also voiced by Marina Sirtis.
Indeed. So, moving on. Marcus, you're number 5.
My number 5. Poor unfortunate souls. Yes, I went with Ursula from The Little Mermaid, voiced by the legendary Pat Carroll, who's still alive, and she has voiced Ursula in every incarnation.
Not only that, but fun fact, she also voiced Ursula's crazy sister Morgana in the direct-to-DVD sequel.
Is
Yes,
there
she
more
did.
than one version?
Well, like in all the movies, video games, attractions, and anywhere where Ursula had a voice, it's Pat Carroll, pretty much.
Alright.
Even
With, like,
in,
only a couple exceptions.
I was going to say, what about Mickey Mouse's Clubhouse? As none of the characters seem to sound like them when they're in the Mickey Mouse's Clubhouse.
I don't
So
think
I think
Ursula
that-
is in the clubhouse.
I think that was
no,
probably
no.
voiced by her.
Well, at the very least, she was there during the Mickey Mouse's House of Villains special, because I know
Oh.
she was there with the villain team in that one.
Good point. Not Mickey Mouse's Clubhouse. House of Mouse is what I'm thinking of.
That's
Yeah,
what I
I think
meant. That's what I meant. House of Mouse.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that was her. The only places where she hasn't played Ursula are the live-action variants, like Broadway and
Mhm.
Once Upon a Time or whatever, stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Which is
Obviously,
fair
it's whoever the actress is, but yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just thought it was someone else in House of Mouse, because it may have been her in the villain special ever, but in the normal everyday episodes, none of the villains or characters sound like them.
Well,
They're all
it's
just
possible then.
like voiced in, mainly because it's reaction noises like or
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah.
It's possible, but at least for any speaking roles that Ursula has, it's Pat Carroll. It'll be sad when she passes, because if they do anything with Ursula, then who the hell's going to voice her? But
Well,
yeah,
that's why there's a lot of people. There's a lot of Disney stars who pass, and they have to find new voice actors. Disney is very good at finding voice actors that can match previous ones. That's why even over the course of these 75 years now, 100 years, however long it's been, since the original cartoons first came out, there have been at least 5 or 6 different voices of Mickey and Minnie, respectively.
Yeah, if they got anyone to do it, I'd love to see Tress McNeil get a shot at it.
True.
She could do it.
True. Part of me wonders, will they be using her again in animation? Because Disney right now are focusing on live action crap, like they got a live action Little Mermaid and stuff like that. I'm like, they're going to be focusing more on the live action versions of Little Mermaid.
True, but at the same time,
there's still like video games and stuff. Like if Kingdom Hearts continues, there's probably going to be Ursula in that.
True.
Not really. She got murdered in the first game. Hasn't showed up since.
Oh.
To be fair, a few of the villains you defeat show up, and she did show up in. Oh, what the hell was it? The card one.
Well, yeah, Chain of Memories was a blatant rehash of the first game, so yes, that's true.
And then there's always Disney Infinity, because that game's always evolving, so there can always be new content for that.
And not only that, don't forget that Disney Villains in and of itself is a Disney franchise. Much like the Disney Princess line, there is in fact a Disney Villain line of which Ursula is a member. It's not as prominently known, but there is a lot of merchandise sold at various Disney gift shops and used in other various marketing, such as special attractions at the parks and on the cruise lines and things that featured the Disney Villains as a franchise.
It's also worth noting the Chain of Memories and stuff wasn't just a blatant retread of the first game or whatever. They may have gone to the same worlds, had a completely different story, different reason for doing it, different combat. Everything was different. It was just a case of it happened to be the same worlds.
And most of the same story in those worlds.
Yeah, but not really, because some of it also involved him having to get the cards and having to get the memories to go to the next location and stuff.
Yeah, it is, but the story, the actual story, not the gameplay, I meant the story. It's pretty much the same. It's basically, like, for example, I had the guide for Chain of Memories, and I played something, I was like, oh, we're going to land in Agrabah. Oh, there's Aladdin. Oh, Jafar's being evil. Let's go stop him. Oh, he turned into a genie. We better stop him again.
Yep, but I was saying the actual story when you get into the root of it. You've also got all of the other people who are not just blatant rip-offs of Soul Reapers from Bleach, trying to stop him from doing various stuff, and what these memories mean, and things happen slightly different within those worlds too.
Fair enough.
As a result,
I don't know.
I like Chain of Memories.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, I like Ursula. She's evil. She's scary, creepy. Isn't she like the sister of Triton or something like that?
That is debatable. In the original story, she was. In the animated Disney versions, in that or the two prequels, or the prequel and the sequel, she's never stated to be a direct relative of Triton, just the sister of Morgana who appeared in the sequel. However, in the Broadway version of Little Mermaid, they did restore the sibling relationship between Ursula and Triton, so it's depending on the version you're going with.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Which, she is a great villain. She's on my list for later.
Yeah, I love her. Like, I'm gonna steal your voice, steal your body, steal your man, and fuck you. And it's just like, wow.
Wait, she was gonna fuck her?
No.
Like, fuck her over is what he...
I know, that was a joke at the way he phrased it.
Oh, I was thinking tentacle rape.
Yeah, well,
That too.
Having you never experienced a woman before, I'm not sure if you know what happens, when two people get together.
See, I don't know if you know this or not, Pew, but that's not a woman. That's a fish thing that looks like a drag queen.
It's my nightmare fuel, that's what it is.
Because it was intentionally based on a drag queen when they were drawing her, actually.
I was aware, that's why I made the reference.
Fair enough. Anyway, Pew, you're number 5.
Alright. My number 5 is, I don't think she got a proper name, and if she did, I don't remember.
If Marcus can still hear us, did you want to swap back to Shadow's Maul logo? But fair enough. Okay, but over to Pew.
It's cool. I'm going through clicking on each person as we do it so their photo is focused on. So Ursula's just kind of tiny in the corner right now.
Ah.
Okay, so I don't know if she had a proper name or something. I don't remember her having a proper name, so I'm just gonna call her what I always call her: Evil Queen of Snow White.
I don't.
So-
She never officially had a name in the movie, but she's often referred to as Queen Grimilde. So, but
Okay.
usually most people just call her the Evil Queen.
Evil Queen of Snow White.
Yeah,
And
that works.
the reason I really like her is because I
Oh,
like
Peter doesn't have any
her.
pictures.
I don't have fucking minicam.
Yeah, I thought her name was meant to be Regina Mills.
Ha! So
Thank
I'm
you.
talking about the Disney version where she's literally like, hey, this person's prettier than me. I want this fucking bitch dead. I want to cut out her fucking heart and hold it in my hand. Probably gonna crush it with my own hands. Like, and that's fucking dark for a Disney movie. I want to kill this bitch. I want her hand in my fucking heart, or heart in my hands.
I want her hand in my heart.
I
Who
mean,
said that?
yeah, I want her heart in my hand. That's what I meant to say. Fuck you. But like, that's like fucking. She really wants to literally take a fucking dagger and stab into this bitch's heart. She's not allowed to be prettier than me. This bitch needs to die. Like, you know, and that's really fucking scary. And not only does she freaking go trickster and poison, and she's like, she wants this fucking bitch dead.
Nope.
Like, and that's really scary. And this is supposed to be a person who, I don't know how, like, the official story goes, but wasn't she sort of, like, a caretaker of her, and now she's not?
Yeah, she's meant to be her stepmother, isn't she?
Yeah, and she was like, no, this is not okay. You are done. Stick a fork in you, or a knife, and you are done.
Because that's the thing with Disney whenever you watch all of their films. They're all for family values, you know, as long as it's just a man and a woman who are married and had kids. No, you can't have step-parents, or you can't be gay couples. No, Disney's against that style of a family.
Disney's also against either mothers being okay, or, you know, stepfathers not dying, or fathers not dying.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Disney preaches family values, and whenever it's like step families, like no, the step person must be evil. That's not how the world works.
Sheer jealousy and wanting the death of something you helped raise. That's intense.
Yep.
Fair enough. And it should be noted there was actually an article about that, and one of the reasons that in a lot of these Disney things over the years there have been lack of parents, or there's issues with parents, is the fact that Walt Disney himself, growing up, had some childhood situations going on. I believe the primary thing was that his mother died when he was very, very young, and that had a very strong impact on him, and that's why a lot of his characters were missing a parent.
Also, he supported the Nazi Party, so anyone who does that is
He
also
was not a
fucked up.
Nazi. He was not a Nazi.
He wasn't a Nazi. I didn't say he was a Nazi. I said he supported the Nazi Party.
He
Anyone
did
who
not support
supports
the Nazi Party.
Yes, he did. It's literally documented. Like, he literally gave money to people who were Nazis. That's a documented fact.
He even did a cartoon where Donald Duck was a Nazi.
Yes, he did a cartoon where he was a Nazi because that was what was going on at the time. He made
I'm
that
just
cartoon,
saying,
yes.
anyone who would do that is not altogether there.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
and,
just saying-
and like Pew said, gave money to the Nazis and stuff. Yeah.
He didn't give money to the Nazis. He gave money to people that he supported. If some of them supported that party, so be it. But he didn't see that. He saw them as filmmakers and producers. So
He
just
gave money to people who supported Nazis. That way you are a Nazi supporter. If I gave money to people who liked abortion, I would be a supporter of abortion.
And let's not also forget killing a bunch of innocent lemmings.
Boom.
What?
Look it up. This is a fact. Disney did a documentary-ish film about lemmings, about how it's true all lemmings follow each other off the edge of a cliff. No, they don't. The reason they got that footage is, no joke, they literally drove a jeep at a herd of lemmings to rally them off the edge of a cliff.
Okay, then.
Boom.
But anyway.
But it's back to you.
Yes, but anyway.
Hey, don't step on my computer.
I'm not stepping on your computer.
No,
You keep saying yes, but anyway. I was saying yes. It's back to you. You can't go yes, but anyway. What do you mean anyway? To it's back to you.
Who's next? Jeff again? I think
No,
it was or you.
It's
It's
Jim, but he won't go.
It's me. I'm going right now, and his name is Marcus. Get it right.
Yeah, that dude.
That dude. Anyway, so moving along, number 4 on my list. Speaking of classic Disney villains, because I I know that it's a slight change from the recent movie, but I have to put Maleficent on the list here because she is, aside from maybe Chernobog, the most outright evil Disney villain, surely for the purposes of being evil. Literally, her entire presence. I am literally going to destroy your kingdom and curse your child to basically be in a coma for most of her life when she hit 16 because you didn't invite me to her christening. It's like, wow, grudge much. Now, granted, if you watch the Angelina Jolie movie, that's a slightly different story, but because it's an animated list, going based on the animated Maleficent, she was just outright fucking evil, and she could turn into a dragon, and that's pretty badass. So, yeah, Maleficent.
Nice.
Mole.
My number 4, which I assume is probably going to be on no one's list ever, but still, it's on my list. Boom.
Is that Mirror Universe Buzz Lightyear?
This is evil Buzz Lightyear.
Nice.
He was a villain in Buzz Lightyear of Star Command series. He basically comes from an alternate universe where he, instead of Zurg, is the evil emperor. Notice his outfit looks very much like a hybrid of Buzz and Zurg's, which is awesome as hell. He even has a catchphrase of Buzz Lightyear, spreading evil to infinity and beyond. And also, it's heavily stated, and also implied multiple times as well, that he is much more evil than Zurg himself. He is literally seeing Buzz, the hero, as a villain, and he's used a few times. And I like that guy. I really do like evil Buzz Lightyear. He's kind of cool, and he just looks cool. So yeah, evil Buzz Lightyear.
He does look cool. Marcus Shadow, you're up again. I hope you're back. I guess.
Ding!
But while we're waiting for Marcus, I just looked
I'm
it up
back.
for you, Jim, for the purpose of what you said earlier, because I know Jim likes to do this. I looked it up for you, Jim. In 1982, the CBC television magazine program, The Fifth Estate, broadcast a documentary about cruelty of animals in Hollywood called Crucial Camera, focusing on White Wilderness, the Disney film, as well as the television program Wild Kingdom. Bob Keelan, the host of the CBS program, found out that the lemming scene was actually filmed at the Bow River near downtown Calgary and not at the Arctic Ocean as implied by the film. He also found out the lemmings did not voluntarily jump into the river and were in fact pushed by a rotating platform installed by a film crew. Well, other people say they drove a jeep at it, but yeah, they basically murdered a bunch of lemmings. Yay, Disney.
Well, they fell into a river. They might have survived if they landed in the river.
Really? Really? You're even defending lemming killing?
I'm not defending lemming killing. I'm just saying I hope the lemmings are alive.
Over to Marcus.
So, which villains did I miss? Is that Maleficent?
That was, yes, I had Maleficent. Before that, let's see, just now, Mole gave one to evil Buzz Lightyear.
There's an evil Buzz Lightyear?
Yes, for Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. He's a Mirror Universe Buzz Lightyear who is actually the evil guy instead of Zurg, and he's more evil than Zurg.
Oh, of course, he's evil because he has facial hair. Fair enough.
And also the L instead of the Z on his chest and stuff. Yeah, he's awesome, and he was in a few episodes, and yeah, like I said to Jim, he even has a catchphrase, Marcus, of Buzz Lightyear spreading evil to infinity and beyond.
Awesome.
It is awesome, and
you also get cool. You also get cool scenes with that as well, Marcus. Of Buzz is fighting him, and at one point Buzz then goes, "No, evil never wins." To which basically he flips it over, starts to defeat Buzz, and as he says, "Why not? It's worked out pretty well for me in my universe."
Yeah,
and I'm like, "That's brilliant."
Yep, and Pew gave one to the evil queen from Snow White.
Yeah, I heard that one. Okay, so here's my number 4.
Correct.
Be prepared. Yes, I went with Scar, voiced by the great Jeremy Irons. Except for the last few lines of "Be Prepared," actually, which was voiced by Jim Cummings, because Jeremy Irons, not being a singer, completely blew his fucking voice out trying to sing "Be Prepared." And then Jim Cummings voiced Scar and everything else since, or at least all the official Disney animated stuff in the video games. But yeah, Scar is just... He scares you, especially as a child. He fucking scares you. He outright murders Mufasa and just completely takes the fuck over and just basically drops Simba into severe depression. It's just like... It's hard to get more evil than Scar, but I have people who are more evil than Scar. But yeah, he's just that... And he's Simba's uncle. Come on. It's kind of the classic, story, like kind of the old English monarchy stories of the brother killing the brother to take his throne. But
yeah, it's based on Hamlet. No?
Yeah, it is, but he's still creepy and evil.
Yeah, he is.
And he has those hyenas. He's got his little army thing, and he even managed to, bone some lioness to have a son, which don't know how the fuck that happened, but okay.
We don't know. He did not have a son.
Really, I thought that was supposed to be Scar's son.
No, that was Scar's pre-selected heir, but he was not a genetic descendant.
Fair enough. Still.
Although Kovu was pretty cool.
Kovu was cool. Scar. If depending on the version of the Lion King you're going with, the deleted scene from the animated movie.
Going by the animated version, as that's what this discussion's about.
True. I'm just saying, one of the deleted scenes from the animated version that ended up in the Broadway production later, Scar kind of went crazy, decided he wanted cubs, and tried to rape Nala. So yeah, that was a thing.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, there's that too. The original vision of Scar, where, like you say, he would try to rape Nala. It's just like, wow, and they got the perfect actor for it too. Come on, Jeremy Irons, he's perfect for a role like that. But yeah, I like Scar, and Lion King is my favorite Disney movie of all time. So yeah.
Nice.
Scar.
Yeah. Like I said, he's on my list.
So let me go back here, select my logo. Okay. Back to Jimson.
I believe he'll be over to Pew.
Indeed, let's go over to Pew for number 4.
Number 4 in mine is Cruella de Vil. What's more terrifying than seeing a bunch of puppies and be like, what would be cool if I ripped off their flesh and wore it? I want to wear their skin. I want their fur. I want to fucking kill and murder all these puppies, skin them, wear it on my back. I want to kill all the puppies. That's like something you don't do. In every movie ever, whenever like a whole bunch of people die in movies, save the pet. Boom, save the pet. Every movie, like any action movie or whatever, where people die all the time, animals always live. But not this one. Fuck those animals. I'm wear them like a friggin' boss. That's what she wants to do. Can you imagine this? Can you just imagine if they actually succeeded? Her frickin' taking a knife, just picking off those puppies. Oh, look, remember that one with the patch on the eye? Perfect hat. Can you imagine that they want to rip the flesh off of these animals, rip the fur off, and wear them? That's so horribly violent. If they even anywhere came close to this, even trying, it would be, yeah, it's just like, oh, you don't even want to do it. Like, animal violence, like, we're okay with people violence. Show me 1,000 dead bodies. Show me fucking one dead puppy and I'm done. Like, that is something that I personally cannot handle.
You need to watch the movie Old Yeller.
Fuck you. And so...
Or the movie Homeward Bound.
I'm not gonna watch any sad puppy movies.
To be fair, they don't die in Homeward Bound.
No, but they almost die in Homeward Bound.
I don't want to see any almost dead or dying animals.
I know. I will say to you, Pew, Homeward Bound is actually worth checking out. Talking Cat, and there's a sequel.
Is that like Milo and Otis?
It's about 2 dogs and a cat. Basically, they get separated. They can talk, and they get at least to each other, not to humans. And they get separated from their owners and left out like in the middle of nowhere. They gotta go on this journey to find their owner.
Basically, Toy Story with pets.
Pretty
Besides
much.
Harlow and Otis, and if that's like something similar. Anyway, she is a horrible, terrifying villain. You just see her eyes when she's driving her in the car. Her eyes like freaking light up and change from black to white to black to white, and you can see all the extra lines in her eyes. By the end of it, she's like nothing straight of a freaking beast monster with a giant fur coat. If you like take a picture of her in that one driving scene next to the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, you will see ridiculous similarities.
To be fair, if you also took a picture of Cruella de Vil's face, how it normally looks, and stuck it next to Michael Jackson before he died.
I do have to say, despite how bad the movie was, Glenn Close did a fabulous job as Cruella de Vil in the live-action movie.
See, I thought the first live-action movie was pretty good. I did not like the sequel.
Oh, the sequel was shit. But I'm talking about, like, literally when that one driving sequence where she's gonna fucking run over, mow down those puppies, when that Beast is about to pounce on, like, freaking Gaston, that's, like, the same exact pose, the same exact images. Like, even, like, the back and the way her back is curved and the yellow coat isn't behind, she just looks like a fucking beast.
The Disney animation method. It doesn't change after how many years?
Yeah, and she's just terrifying. I mean, she's better run these sons of bitch over. 10 points, 10 points, 10 points, you know?
She's a great villain.
Yeah.
She almost made my list.
So, yeah. And plus, she's got a cool song. Cruella de Vil, Cruella de Vil, she'll fucking kill you and steal your skin.
Pretty sure that's not how the song went.
No, I'm pretty sure that's exactly how the song went.
She's talking about a deleted scene that eventually got readapted into a Broadway-ish production that was actually more of like a pantomime on TV that no one actually gives a shit about, but let's just view this shit.
There you go.
The world was such a wholesome place until...
Yep, that is the singing voice of someone who supports lemming killings.
And apparently Nazis.
No. Just no. Anyway. So, next on my list, I have... Where is the picture here? I turned the hanger, focus on my picture, right? Yes, I did. Okay. Next up on my list, I give you Shan Yu of Mulan.
Yep.
Now, most people saying, "Oh, he was just some big, burly, scary-looking dude." Really, what did he do? Well, number one, he was able to kidnap the Emperor. That's pretty impressive for anybody to do, given all the guards that guard that dude. Number two, he looks really evil. Number three, mostly one thing you have to remember is you got to remember when they're the soldiers are marching up the hill and they're singing that "Girl Worth Fighting" song, a girl worth fighting for, and they're singing that song, and then they abruptly stop because they're looking forward and they realize that Shan Yu has burned a motherfucking village to the ground and every man, woman, and child in it, and they emphasize child because they find a child's toy in the fucking burned wreckage.
Yep. I did like Mulan.
It's like, wow, come on, he's got a badass falcon. Come on.
As will probably come up with a load of Disney stuff, I did not like Mulan 2, but I did like Mulan.
Yeah, well, Mulan 2 didn't really need to exist.
Most 2s and 3s and forthwith don't need to exist.
This is true. But yeah, Shan Yu was just evil, and he kidnapped an old man, and he tried to murder a lot of people, and he was, and not to mention that the dude survived an avalanche. I mean, that makes him tough too. And he murdered most of the Chinese army, if we're to believe what we're seeing, that like Chang and his dudes were like the last guys. He clearly murdered most of the Chinese army in addition to burning down villages and shit. So yeah, he's evil. Shan Yu.
Fucking kill a child with a doll.
Yes, and he burned a child to death and left their doll in the wreckage. Okay. Let me go back over to my thing here. Mole, would you like to go next?
Boom.
Please.
As I
Aha.
mentioned, she was on my list. The reason she made my list is, like I said, what I looked at with a load of these was not only whether or not I enjoyed the villain, but also whether or not they were an effective villain. And she was a damn right effective villain, just for the simple reason. The only reason her plan was successful, or the only reason what her plan hinged on, is the greed of the hero. Like, literally, taking Ariel's voice and stuff, she even says to her, sign here if you want. She even leads her down a fucking path filled with souls that she's exploited. It even tells her, well, sometimes it doesn't quite work out for those poor unfortunate souls. And Ariel still signs. She literally, she didn't do anything too evil. I mean, in terms of that, she did near the end. But that's why she was a great villain, because she was only as effective as the hero's greed, and that's great. You hardly see that. Normally, it's like, oh, I'm gonna kill you for insert reason, or I'm gonna do this convoluted plan. This was just, I'm gonna use your own greed and your own lust against you, and that's brilliant. Ursula made my list. Boom.
Nice.
It was.
I agree. Do we not have a host?
Fair enough. So, moving right along, I agree Ursula is a great villain. She did not make my list, I will say, but she is a great villain. So moving along, Pew, why don't you give us your, actually, no, wait, I'll skip Marcus. That was Mole. Marcus, you're next. Marcus,
Okay.
go ahead and give us your number 3.
Well, I'm setting this up. My number 3 is a little controversial. Mole and I talked about this prior to the recording and did not make his list, and I understand why, and I agree with why. But I really do like him, and I think he's a great villain. I went with Jafar from Aladdin. Yes, they completely bitched him out after the first movie, but he was still great in the first movie, and he was kind of like the opposite of Ursula, where you had Ursula who, as Mole pointed out, preyed on the greed and stuff of Ariel. He was more of, and then you don't see a lot of villains like this in Disney where they gave him a flaw and the hero exploited his flaw to defeat him, like like a standard superhero would, and that's his lust for power. And I thought that was kind of clever, and I thought that played very well, and it made him a great villain because, he had his motivations of that lust for power. He wanted to be the Sultan. He wanted to be the most powerful sorcerer. He just wanted to be the man. And Aladdin, as a hero, realizes at the end, you want to be the man? Fine. You get to be the man, but it comes with a price. And it's
Yep.
like, and then it's just, I think that makes him a great villain, the fact that he's all-powerful, but he's got a flaw. And he's willing to do whatever it takes to achieve that which he desires. I mean, he wanted Jasmine to the point that he was basically going to Triple H that shit, for lack of a better phrase. And it's like, dude, to the point that he's using mind control on the fucking Sultan. He's exposing Aladdin for who he is to get the people against him. He's a manipulator, and he's a conniving bastard, but he's evil, and he has all the requisite attributes of the great villains that people have created, and it's like all rolled into one. He's awesome.
Yep.
And then the sequels came out.
Yeah, like I said to you before we recorded, and I've said that in the past, he may not have been on my list because I can't get over the fact that the sequels ruined him as a character in general for me. However, he belongs on anyone's list. I mean, obviously this is like your personal top 5, so
yeah.
I can understand why someone would take him. He was great in the first one, and I love his song when he exposes Aladdin at the end. That's brilliant.
Ali.
Yeah, I just love the thing. It's Prince Ali, and he, with the whole not as you know him, it just turns him back. I'm like, that's genius.
Yep. I love the song that didn't make it into Aladdin, where he talks about what he wants to do, what he's going to do to like fucking Jasmine and the Sultan and Aladdin. Where he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill Aladdin. I'm gonna rape Jasmine. I'm like, Jesus, dude. Like, okay,
I don't recall there being any rape in that song.
Yeah, maybe not rape, but I want to, Jasmine's gonna be my wife. I'm gonna take over the kingdom of Agrabah. I'm gonna be. He just goes down this list of what he's going to do, and I'm just like, damn, you're fucking evil.
Mm-hmm.
I would make the case he was trying to get Jasmine against her will. That's rape.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
Go ahead. Oh, I was gonna say, for more on that, check out. I believe it's still out because I believe it's part of the current X-Pound. The top. The list that Jim and I did of the Disney deleted songs, because I believe that's actually on there. I believe that was one of ours.
It is, but we never. If you recall correctly, we never put that video up because we were afraid we were going to do it, and then we were going to do it. We didn't record it regularly. We were going to because that footage got screwed up. Then we were going to do it on Hangout, and then we were afraid we were going to get nailed on copyright for all the songs, and we ended up never doing it.
Okay, I thought you put up the original version. My bad.
No, I never did that because I didn't have your footage.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll eventually figure out a way to do it. I guarantee
There will be something. We'll make it work.
Because that was a great video.
By the way, Marcus, fun fact: if you like alternate versions of Prince Ali, you should see the Broadway production because there's another Prince Ali reprised in there just before the Jafar one that's actually reprised by the Sultan.
Nice. But yes, of course, the only person ever to voice Jafar because he won't let anyone else voice him. Jonathan Freeman, fucking awesome. I mean, obviously he can't stop. Like, there's been a couple other ones that he just couldn't do, like some of the live action stuff. I believe he did the Broadway one, but like the other stuff, like Young Jafar and Once Upon a Time and stuff, isn't him. But when at all possible, if he can voice him or can play him, he will, and he won't let anyone else do it, which is fine because Jafar's effectively his character. He made Jafar, and he's awesome. And come on, Jafar has Iago. Iago's awesome too, despite the fact he's voiced by Gilbert Gottfried. But I think it's just the right amount of Gilbert Gottfried to the point that it doesn't become too annoying, at least to me.
I think it didn't become annoying till sequels and TV show got annoying, but in the first film it was definitely not annoying. Yeah,
until he became a good guy and stuck around Aladdin the whole time and was, yeah. So, yeah, that's my number, what was that, 3?
Number 3.
So, as per orders of the boss man, we'll head over to the female contingent of this video. Over to Pew.
Alright, my number, I think it's 3 Ron now.
Yes.
Okay, it's Maleficent. Cause she, this is for a different reason. She just makes the movie. Because if you like Sleeping Beauty, no one fucking remembers the princess. No one remembers any goddamn character. You just remember Maleficent. She's the only actual real person in that movie, like, at all. I mean, it's no surprise they did the movie remake of Maleficent. She just fucks make it. She's pissed, she has spite, and she does stuff. She's the one who leads the whole goddamn movie. And, like...
I will say, if you talk about Maleficent, using the movie as an example of why she's awesome is not a good idea. That movie sucks balls.
Yeah, but like I think
not the Sleeping Beauty. I meant the actual live-action Maleficent movie. That film sucked balls.
No, I mean like I can understand why they
good guy, and it was horrible.
I'm just I don't. The movie's sucks balls, but I can understand why they would call it Maleficent as opposed to Aurora because who the fuck is that? No one like even really remembers her. You know.
I believe they called it that because of that big fad that's going around ever since like Wicked and stuff, where it's like, oh, let's, and there was the ones before that too, but things are like, oh, like let's just retell it with the villain.
Yeah, the point is, out of the Sleeping Beauty story, she is the most interesting character, and occasionally people fuck her up because they try to, you know, edgy her up and turn her good or whatever the fuck, or justify it some way. But no, it's not. She's fucking evil. She's pissed, kind of like Snow White from the Evil Queen. She's just pure spite. She wasn't invited to a party, and now it is a bitch gotta die. You're done. You take away something from her.
If you want more on people misusing Maleficent, check out our month of Kingdom Keepers around the pounds.
But yeah, she's super interesting. She freaking puts this girl in a spell. She makes turns into a dragon, covers the place up with thorns. she's pretty resourceful, and she does a lot, and she's very, very patient.
Indeed.
She is.
So that kind of has all the makings of a serious badass. Plus, fucking dragons.
Yep, dragons are cool. Do we have a gym back?
Not sure.
You
I'm waiting for Jim to come back because he's also in charge of the camera and stuff too, which means it might be clicked just onto you.
Ah, fair enough, fair enough. So, how about that new cinema mole?
Yep.
That new cinema you're getting, it does look pretty awesome, I have to admit.
It does look awesome, but yeah, there is a lot of good Disney villains. To be fair, like I said, I also hate that thing that the Disney are doing at the moment. The live-action versions of all the fairy tales. Like, look, there's gonna be a live-action. But thingy, Little Mermaid starring someone from Harry Potter. Yeah, that'll put butts in seats, or rather, that'll put intelligent butts in seats. I imagine the brainwashed masses will go and watch that and be like, yeah, it's Disney, it's going to be awesome regardless. Because that's what people are like, but I'm like, it didn't need, no, if you like Little Mermaid, watch the cartoon. If you like the character of Maleficent, watch the cartoon.
Yes.
If you like Jungle Book, watch the cartoon. We don't need all these live action ones. And there's even a live action Winnie the Pooh, apparently. Or there was rumors. There was at least rumours of a live action Winnie the Pooh surfacing.
Winnie the Pooh, Winnie the bear.
I assume if it's a live action Winnie the Pooh, it'll be done Ted style.
No, I just want to see like him like kind of mauling Christopher Robin to death.
No, the reason I say that, Pew, is let's not forget he's always meant to be a teddy bear. Therefore, I could see him doing Ted, so it's like an actual teddy bear walking around of yellow.
Oh, but I wanted to see a bear.
What do you want to see a bear? Why don't you step outside your house and just wave a fish around?
Oh my god, I would fucking get mauled to death.
I'm okay with this.
No, I am not okay with this.
You could even say it's a bare necessity of mine.
Oh my god, fuck you.
All I have to say is if they do a live action Winnie the Pooh, they better get Jim Cummings for the voice. Because, yeah, he's the only one that should be Winnie the Pooh as long as he's alive.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's my opinion.
Yeah, like I said, I don't have a problem with a live-action Winnie the Pooh per se, because it's the teddy bear idea. But part of me, and I think they've done a puppet version before now, but I'm just like, this live-action trend that they keep going on of making the animated characters live-action, we don't need it. It's pathetic. And like I said, all the Disney fanboys just eat that shit up. It's sad, because the reason they're animated classics, and I say use the term classic and highlight that, is because they were enjoyable. They were enjoyable as they were.
Yeah.
In all fairness, though, that hasn't stopped studios from sequeling or rebooting everything from RoboCop to Star Wars. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately, and we could go into this more maybe in a Shadow Small special or something, but that's a trend in Hollywood that's just made me kind of facepalm and just made me go, what the hell is wrong with this world recently? They make movies because they're successful, not because they're good or they need to exist.
Yeah,
that was my sad that movies that are shit can be so successful that they get a sequel or more than one sequel. I'm like, no.
Yeah,
the first one sucked. Why are you making another one?
And that was my point as well, especially considering with the Disney stuff, the like I said, the Disney fanboys, the brainless masses will eat that shit up regardless, but it's a case of, okay, I can understand why they do a Star Wars sequel. Fair enough. I can understand, and as Jim mentioned, the RoboCop reboot. Fair enough. That's taking a live-action RoboCop and it's making a new live-action RoboCop for the new generation. Why the fuck do we need Little Mermaid remade as a fucking, like I said, as a live-action one with a shitty cast? Why do we need, like, fucking live-action Jungle Book and all? We don't need this. Just make new stuff. Disney always prided itself on being magic, Disney magic, and oh, look how magical we are. There's nothing magical about spewing out complete shit to generate cash.
Yeah, or returning all around, because the other thing that Disney's always prided itself on is being original, always coming up with new stuff and taking on new IPs or whatever. But then they're retreading old ground. And before anyone says it, yes, I know they're also well known for schlock sequels, but still, the at least the big theatrical releases have always been new stuff. It hasn't been retreads. There's been a couple sequels here and there, like the Toy Story stuff and whatnot. But one could argue the sequels that they actually released in theaters, either have been actually pretty good or needed to exist, or both. Unlike the direct-to-video ones, which never needed to exist and never should have seen the light of day.
Yeah, some of the sequels have been bad, but I'll put to you, I would rather go see Cars 2, as bad as Cars 2 was, than I would see a live-action adaptation of Cars.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the problem, is Disney's lost its magic. But we were just basically shooting the shit while we were waiting for the host to do his job. Welcome back, Jim. Back to you for your next number.
I did type a message informing you that you should just throw over to Pew and keep going. Apparently nobody pays attention to the computers.
We did throw over to Pew, but we also remembered the part where you mentioned the fact you were controlling the camera and it was always going to be focused on someone, and we're supposed to be having the images to go with what we're talking about.
Except Pew doesn't have images anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but when it finished with Pew's finished. That's why it went back round to you. Which means either we skip you and go me, then Marcus, then Pew, then back to me, Marcus and Pew, in which case you come back and just do yours, or we had to wait.
All right.
And then also the camera would be focused on me, so Mole wouldn't get his images seen by the people. As Mole pointed out, which I was like, oh yeah, good point.
All right, sorry.
That's fine. It generated a good discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed, and I will point out the reason Disney does that is because they need to do things that make money because they are a company. And yes, companies try original things, but the problem is people don't go see original things anymore. They put out original stuff and nobody goes to see it. Let me ask, of the 4 people in this conversation, besides me, how many of you saw Princess and the Frog?
I did. I mentioned that in the last one. Loved that film.
Okay, good. But let me ask, did Marcus or Pew see that movie?
No. I found the villain super hot, and I was sad that he was the villain because I kind of wanted him to be the not villain.
Dr.
At least I wanted him to win.
So 3 out of 4 did. What was your point, Jim?
Pew didn't say she saw it. She said she liked the villain.
I saw the movie, and the villain was super hot, and I kind of wanted him to win.
Right. Yeah. I'm just making the point that movie in particular, yeah, we happen to be Disney fans, so we saw it, but that did not generate near the revenue and near the ticket sales that they hoped it would, and that was kind of the problem.
Okay, I would ask you then, Jim, out of the Disney films, if we're going to go that route, which one generated the most money recently? The original film of Frozen or the retread of The Lone Ranger?
Frozen, obviously. And that, yes, Frozen worked. I was just saying that was the first original idea that worked in a long time.
Tangled, Wreck-It Ralph worked.
Wreck-It Ralph was awesome.
Yeah, they were good, but they weren't box office breakers.
But they were better movies.
I know, but you have to realize when it comes to the studio,
they generated a lot of money.
They did, but a lot of money to us is not a lot of money to a corporation like Disney.
I would say they were complete successes. That's why they're already looking at Wreck-It Ralph 2 and maybe a Tangled 2 due to their overwhelming success.
Yeah.
And not overhyped nonsense.
Yeah, well.
But I was just making the case of, while I understand they're a company and they need to make money, it doesn't excuse the quality and the idea of this, let's just remake all our magical shit without the magic or the heart just for cash, as live action, I don't know what you'd call it, but complete shit like Maleficent.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm just saying that in a lot of, not just Disney, but companies and a lot of movie companies are finding, the reason we get things like, like we're on Fast and Furious 7 right now is because people went and they saw that, and they didn't go see, other, more original movies. Unfortunately, generally speaking, there's a trend of new original ideas are not getting the box office draw that they used to get. Everybody goes to see sequels and things that they know. It tells you something when, the fact of the matter is, if you look at the top grossing movies of all time right now, I believe, obviously Avatar is up there, but, of the rest of those, one is the last Harry Potter movie and the others are Avengers movies. It's it's because of these in big franchises and people go to see that stuff. And yes, obviously Avengers wasn't necessarily sequels; it was kind of tied in.
Oh,
But the
I am
fact of the
aware.
matter,
I am aware, and I've made that point to you before. I was the one that brought that point up originally, but I was making the case of with Disney recently, their original stuff has sold, and now it's like they're too lazy to come up with the original stuff.
And then I would also put to you that this is Disney we're talking about. It's not like we're talking about Paramount or fucking Sony Pictures or anything. This is Disney. It's like they don't need to retread the old stuff. You know, their newer stuff, their original stuff, while with the bottom line of their books and stuff, they may not make as much money as like if they did a retread piece of shit. They don't need the revenue that would have been generated from the retread because they would make more than enough off the original, and it would have that Disney magic, and it'd be what Disney is about. And
Yeah,
and to me, it feels like Disney is basically falling into the same category as the other movie uh, companies that only do movies. Like Paramount, all they do is they produce movies and TV shows and stuff like that. So that is their bread and butter. So they have to produce what's going to make them money. And unfortunately, that's all they look at is the bottom line of how much money is it making me, not is it actually any good. And what a lot of them don't realize is that, well, they may realize it, and they're basically milking the stupidity of the American audience and maybe even worldwide audience of, what's making the money isn't the movie, it's the IP that the movie is based on. And I guarantee you that's the case with a lot of stuff. Especially with like Transformers. I guarantee you that's the only reason that made any money was because it's the Transformers. It's not because the movies were any good.
To be fair, there are some people
the
who
first
like
one was
those.
Yeah.
There are some people who like those films as much as I don't.
To be fair, I would say the first movie was tolerable.
It was okay, but
I thought the first one was pretty good, but I was making the case of some people do like those Transformer films and stuff, which is fair enough. But yeah, I understand exactly what you were talking about. But my point with Disney is, like we mentioned last month when we did Around the Pound and stuff, they want to make a live-action film featuring Ursula, or they want to make a live-action film featuring Maleficent because of the IP and the brand name. They've got Kingdom Keepers. It's an original idea. This just seems lazy and forced and a little shit.
yeah.
And it seems like they're doing it because that's a trend right now, not because it's good. Which I don't like, but I believe it's Jim's number 2.
It is my number 2. He said number 2. Anyway. So, my number 2 is another TV villain. Oh, excuse me, hang on. Oh, hiccups. Water.
I don't think I know Hiccups Water. What film was he in?
Shut up. But you see a lot of villains in these movies, and they have varying levels of success in their evil endeavors.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they succeed in killing somebody, maybe they succeed in taking over an army, maybe they succeed in, even almost, accomplishing whatever goals they might have. Varying levels of success depending on how competent of a villain they are, how competent the hero they're fighting is, what their ultimate goal is. Some villains' goal is just to, steal stuff. Some villains is to, such as in this case, rule the world. And if it's a very rare villain that can actually succeed in ruling the world.
Piccolo did it.
Piccolo did it, yes. But in terms of overall, it's very rare that you see villains succeed enough that they actually rule the world. And particularly in Disney, that really doesn't happen very often. Unless you're, evil Buzz Lightyear and you rule the galaxy. But one villain that I've always loved that did actually succeed and did in fact rule the world for however brief I don't know, I guess brief is dependent because of the plot devices used in this movie. But only one villain in Disney TV that I can recall at the top of my head actually succeeded in taking over the world. She is the supreme one, She-Go.
Okay, then.
There we go. Yes, because let's face it, I don't think anybody would deny that Kim Possible was an awesome show.
It was.
And
It was alright.
and it was fairly well demonstrated at multiple points in time that Shigo was pretty much the only competent villain on that show.
Yes.
And particularly, as you might have recognized this photo, I'm in this case specifically, I'm referring to the film A Stitch in Time,
Oh, that was cool.
which you may recall that scene in which big muscular Rufus from the future came back and told Kim that she had to stop the Supreme One from becoming ruler of the world. And of course, being who she normally fought, she made the sexist assumption that it was going to be a dude, that it would be Draken or the monkey ninja dude or the Scottish golfer dude. She had weird villains. Anyway,
Yes.
but no, in fact, it turned out to in fact be Shigo, which after she finally realizes this 2/3 of the way into the movie, I like how Rufus from the Rufus 3000, whatever his name was from the future, makes the point of, did it not occur to you that she was the only one competent enough to actually take over the world? It always seemed like a guy thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, then, but yeah, Shigo, remember, when Kim goes to the future to stop her, Shigo has actually taken over the world. She has put everybody in the same black and green color scheme that she wears. She has turned the high school that Kim attends into a brainwashing facility where people are brainwashed to obey Shigo. She has a police guard robots, things that fly around and patrol the world, and she literally took over the world. And not only that, but she roided up her former boss, Dr. Draken, into a dude that looks like Ryback and uses him as her personal bodyguard.
Yep.
Feed him
That
more.
is a common trope within TV animations to take them to an alternate world where she's ruled the world or an alternate future and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, who remembers Sabrina when Jen took over the world?
I don't remember that.
It was hilarious. But yeah.
Was that in the live-action show or the cartoon?
Cartoon.
Ah. But yeah, I always like most of the stuff on Kim Possible, and Shigo was always one of my favorite villains.
She was awesome.
And the fact that she and Draken kind of got a little redeemed in the final episode where they were going to get together, that was kind of fun. Spoilers. For a show that ended years ago, but yeah, overall, she was always the most fun villain because, Draken was kind of an idiot, but Shigo was actually, was always seemed to be like the mirror opposite of Kim Possible. Someone with the same level of intelligence, someone with the same skills, the added benefit of Energy Blast, but somebody who used that ability for evil as opposed to good. And the fact that Shigo also had an interesting villain background where she didn't start as a villain, she started as a hero, as part of a team of really, really, really incompetent superheroes. And she decided, no, this is stupid. These guys are idiots. Heroes are idiots. I'm going to be a villain because it's cool. And I'm like, yes, you should be a villain because it's cool. So yeah, the Supreme One, Shigo.
Nice.
All right, I think back over here. Where's my logo? There we go. Okay, let's go over to Mole for his number 2.
My number 2 is literally, in my opinion, the manifestation of evil. Boom. I'm referring, of course, to Oogie Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas. A guy who's literally so evil that the entire town of things that should make us all shit ourselves, like vampires, werewolves, stuff, the monsters hiding under your bed, as some of the lyrics say, and stuff like that, are literally shit scared of this dude. He just has to show up and be like, oh, Muggy Buggy. He's crazy. He's fucking insane, obviously. But, I mean, he's insane with how he does stuff, not like in a crazy way. I mean, insane, like, just over the top of it, the look of him. It's like he's literally just nightmare fuel. It's awesome. And inside, what's he made of? Maggots. It's like, this is a great villain. He's kind of... Sometimes, you know what I mean? Sometimes a villain that's just the manifestation of evil can work. Not all the time. Sometimes you need more. But in a story like Nightmare Before Christmas, when the story wasn't about him defeating a villain, having a villain like that was kind of cool. He was just a great villain. And like I said, literally, look at that face. That's pure evil right there. Thank you.
I'm the boogeyman. He was a great villain. Alright, from there, let's take it over to Marcus Shadow for your number 2.
Right. My number 2 is, let's see if I can find his image. There it is. That's my number 2. David Xanatos from Gargoyles. I mean, look at that guy. He just oozes evil.
Not as
He's got
good as
the
Demona.
badass.
Mhm.
I liked him better than Demona. But he's voiced by Jonathan Frakes. And I liked him before I realized he was voiced by Jonathan Frakes, because I didn't realize it for the longest time. I'm like, I recognize that voice. And of course, the face didn't tip me off. And then I looked at IMDb, because that's around the time IMDb was starting to get big, and I'm like, wait, that's Jonathan Frakes? Really? Awesome. But yeah,
With
he's
his-
got the awesome... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, with his look, shave his goatee and slightly change his hair. Is that not as Superman from the animated series?
It's Superman, son of Zod. But yeah. But yeah, he's got the badass, evil ponytail. He's basically Tony Stark, but if he was evil and more douche. Which I love, because he's like the head of the Xanatos Corporation. He's got his own corporation. He's rich. He's got basically an Iron Man suit designed after Goliath. So it's like he's like the Iron Gargoyle. It's fucking awesome.
I will make the case Iron Man is definitely more of a douche.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Iron Man is a pretty big douche.
I mean, look what he did to Spider-Man in Civil War.
True. I don't know. Xanatos was a pretty big douche. I mean, he had this big ass feud with the Gargoyles to the point that he would take people, including his own wife, and fucking cybernetic them up and turn them into basically mindless killing machines to go kill the Gargoyles. I'm like, dude, that's your wife. What? No.
And again, I say Civil War. Literally, Iron Man took Peter Parker, a guy he thought he was meant to think of as his own son at that point, and literally made him unmask in front of all of his villains who were going to watch him, would probably kill his family and him, just to fuel his own agenda. And he even mentions in there, if this is going to destroy him, it's like, yeah, I know, but it kind of needs to happen. It's
Yeah.
like,
And
whoa.
not only that, but not only that, but it fueled the entire Civil War, which pitted half his friends against the other half of people who were supposedly his friends, and I'm sure a lot of heroes have died.
True.
But still, this guy is a douche. The guy
he's a
Jeff's
douche.
on about. This guy is a douche as well. And he was a pretty great villain, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
He was an awesome villain. He got redeemed at the end, so before people say that, yes, I know he got redeemed at the end. But he's still just, when he was a villain, he was an awesome villain. And just the pack that he created, I'm like, dude, that's, yes. It's like the anti-league. I'm like, yeah, you have your own private army.
Yep. I think we need to determine, Mo, where these two rank on the scale of kind of a douche to John Edward.
About 10 places underneath you.
Ouch.
You have Pew back.
Hey,
Yeah,
sorry about that.
that's fine. But yeah, Xanatos. I love Xanatos. Like I said, I loved the character before I realized he was Jonathan Frakes, because I used to watch Gargoyles like almost religiously, and it's like Xanatos is fucking awesome. It's like, I know that voice. Who is that? I know that voice.
Yeah. How did you say? He's Riker with a ponytail.
I know. Like I said sarcastically, the face never tipped me off. I think at one point I thought it might have been Frakes, so I was like, no, that'd be too on the nose, because the character looks like Jonathan Frakes. They wouldn't do that. That was before I knew anything about like the business, about the industry, about voice acting and stuff, especially original stuff, where oftentimes they'll make the character look like the person who's voicing him if if it's an original animation.
Mm-hmm.
Had I known then what I know now, yeah, it's obvious it was Frakes, but I didn't know that at the time. So I was like, it'd be too much of a coincidence if the character looks this much like Jonathan Frakes and they actually got him to voice the character.
Mm-hmm. and then you find out Demona was Marina Sirtis and your head exploded.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
Demona was awesome.
Demona was awesome. But anyway, yes,
Yes.
Pew, you're number 2.
Alright, my number 2 is Frollo from Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I almost had him on my list. He was very close. That dude was
Okay,
fun.
let's start with killing or owing the death or aiding in the death of a certain type of people, gypsies, and possibly anyone who he deems unfit and unworthy of the eyes of God. claiming a higher power, or at least having control or under higher understanding of said higher power and acting.
So
He was working for
basically,
Vince McMahon?
so basically, he was based on Walt Disney with his Nazi affiliation.
Pretty much, except, you know, in France. But
He was Euro Disney. Thank you.
Euro Disney.
Oh, that's a disappointment in itself. But no, he was actually a little more threatening.
So stay tuned. Stay tuned to Chriz the Mole and
That's not going to be
upcoming
until
review of
next year.
Disney.
I'm not even.
So-
And Diamond might not be on that, like I mentioned, and it's not even. It's just planned for possibly next year. And that's not promised stuff. It's not going to be delivered. I'm not going to. I don't know. Songs of Disney yet.
Anyway, also he
Dude, I thought that was up.
took in he took in a hunchback and didn't raise him properly, taught him to be feared, rather than treating him like an actual child, hiding him away from the world, and also freaking deciding to kill Esmeralda because he can't control his feelings of lust about her, wanting to kill her because of his own unable to control his own sense of lust, and literally like summoning like the powers of hell, you know.
And let's not forget the fact that when he first met Quasimodo as a baby, he tried to throw him down a fucking well.
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, baby killer, genocide, tries to kill women who he can't fuck because he knows he's a bishop and he's not supposed to, so he has to just kill anyone who gets under his skin. Yeah, pretty fucking terrible. And all the way while still being a religious leader and putting yourself higher up than somebody because you have this weird sense of authority that I have no idea how the fuck you managed to get. Because you were certainly not worthy of it, doing all these horrible atrocities while still saying you're a very high and noble religious figure.
Fair enough.
Yep. Basically.
Yeah.
Which I believe will mean drum roll because we're on our number ones.
Where's that thing? Alright. So, my number one, this came up earlier, so I will be brief about this, but yeah. Aladdin has been my favorite Disney movie since I saw it in the theater as a kid. My mother took me to see it, and I fell in love with the movie, and while Lion King is a very, very close second, and on occasion, over the course of my years, has edged it out on occasion, Aladdin has always been right up there as my favorite Disney movie. I love Aladdin. And Jafar is just an amazing villain because many of the things that Marcus mentioned earlier, you know, he's evil, he has a singular desire for power, and just power, and I didn't go into this before because I wanted to save it to have something to talk about now. Actually, Jafar had no interest in being with Jasmine at all. He thought she was an annoying little bitch. The only reason he tried to get with her is because until he had a genie.
I can't believe he took the same image I did.
Mine's better, it's bigger.
His was better, it's less blurred.
Ha!
That's what I was going to say. Thank you, Will.
Fair enough. Anyway, so, yeah. He didn't really want to be with Jasmine until he had a genie and could just outright do it. The only reason he wanted to get with Jasmine is because he needed to be married to Jasmine to be the Sultan. That was the only reason he wanted Jasmine. He had no physical, emotional, lustful interest in Jasmine at all. He viewed her as an annoying little bitch that was in his way to power. He only wanted to get with her, and he made her a slave serving him crackers because he thought it was hilarious and cool.
Oh no, Jasmine was just a means to an end for him until he realized who Prince Ali was. Then it became more than a means to an end. It also became, fuck Aladdin. I want her just because Aladdin's gonna get her. No, fuck that shit.
A little bit, yes, I'll give you that. I also like Jafar because he's a very consistent villain. Because even when getting bitched out in crappy sequels, and all Jafar's appearances, Jonathan Freeman keeps him standard. He is dark and evil, he's kind of psychotic, and he's very singular in his goal. He wants power, specifically to rule Agrabah. Even if that,
How about in Kingdom Hearts, where he's just the heartless little bitch working for other villains, completely underneath them, isn't his complete afterthought in the level, despite being an end boss.
he was manipulated by the Heartless, yes, but even the strongest of hearts were manipulated by the Heartless. The fact of the matter is, it was his psychoticism and his singular desire for that power that led his heart to open to the Heartless and to be given into darkness in the first place.
Yes, but I'm saying once it opened up, that no longer became his desire. His desire became to serve the Heartless. As you said, every incarnation.
You have to realize, no, he was serving the Heartless, but he didn't consciously know he was serving the Heartless. That's the thing. The Heartless take you over, and they manipulate you toward their goals, but you don't realize it's being done. It's just sort of a subconscious thing. So he still wanted to kill Aladdin and get to the heart of the world, but only because he thought it was going to give him power and shit. That was really what he wanted. And the Heartless kind of just turned him, darkness, obviously. But anyway.
I never saw him attack Aladdin. I only saw him attack Sora and whoever the fuck it was that was with me.
Mm-hmm.
If Aladdin was in your party, then it would attack him. But if you told Aladdin to go fuck off, then it would just...
He was there with Aladdin and fought him off. Anyway.
It's in the manga, so it's canon.
Nice.
Yay.
Okay. You should review the manga for Summer of Disney this summer.
Oh my god, we totally should. You should also read it, or at least I'll come over here sometime and I'll lend it to you, and then you can just review it with me.
Okay. Anyway, so overall, I love Jafar. He's just a great fun. As I said, he is consistent, even to the point of it sometimes being ridiculous. Because, he's consistent in the second movie. He wants revenge on Aladdin, and he wants power to rule Agrabah again. He doesn't appear in the third movie. Whenever he appears in these other things, even to the point of several years later down the line, when he appeared in a crossover, when the Aladdin characters crossed over with the Hercules animated series in the episode Hercules and the Arabian Night, where, because apparently it takes a long time after you die to show up in the underworld. Years later, Jafar's spirit is in the line down in the underworld, and Pain and Panic report to Hades that this spirit is getting out of line, and Hades meets Jafar. And basically, despite Jafar, being dead, being a spirit, and, Hades saying, look, I'm trying to take over Olympus. I've got some more, more important shit to do than deal with you. And, but they do inevitably agree to try to fight each other's villains, and they both lose.
Isn't that a plot hole?
How so?
Well, in Hades, we've seen characters die, and they instantly go to the underworld.
Well, I don't know, but his spirit was in the line of spirits that was waiting to get on board the boat to cross the river Styx.
So I'm like, why did it take him thousands of years, or however long it took, and then took him less? Took other characters less, unless maybe Hercules were at the same time.
Well, it wouldn't have been thousands of years. It would have been however long the animated series took in world time, because that takes place shortly after Aladdin and Jasmine were married in King of Thieves, and that wasn't that long after they defeated Jafar, maybe a few years. It wasn't that long of a time, because as was shown in that episode, apparently Aladdin and Hercules exist at the same time somehow.
I do believe our review of that one is up, because I remember watching that and reviewing that one.
Also, it might take an extra long time to cross from Aladdin world to Hyrule world, so, or not Hyrule, fucking me.
Hyrule world? What the fuck did that come from?
I don't know.
That crossover.
I meant to say Olympia. I don't know why the fuck I said Hyrule. I don't know. But I'm tired.
Technically it's Greece, but yes.
Whatever. Fucking Greece to Arabia. Like in the middle of fucking desert someplace in Asia, or I don't know, or Afghanistan, or wherever the fuck they are. Someplace in Asia. Okay, and going to Europe, where fucking Greece is. That's like a whole other fucking continent. So, takes a while to get there.
Yeah, like I said, I don't like the idea of those two being in the same world. The only logic behind that might be the TV show doesn't take place in the same one as the movie verse. Because that would be really stupid.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It was mostly for fan service, and it didn't make any sense. But there was
much like what Disney's doing at the moment.
Pretty much.
But yeah, Jim, is our review of that one up? Because like I said, I remember
that one we reviewed. That one we reviewed and put up. Yes, as far as I can recall.
So it should be on the Xbound. Go watch it now, people.
Yeah. So check that. Well, not now. Wait for this video to end, the recording to end, then go watch it. Actually, wait for this recording to end, then watch Around the Pound, then go watch that. Anyway.
There you
go. What I was gonna say is, in that there's this hilarious scene where Hades is talking to Jafar in the underworld, and Jafar is trying. Jafar is now dead. He's literally in the underworld with a god. And what does he try to convince Hades to do? It's like, hey, Hades, let's go take over Agrabah. It's like, really? You have a god and you want to take over one city? Wow. You really are single-minded, dude.
Yeah, it's like Power Ranger villains. Even
Pretty
when the
much.
Rangers were all the way in Australia, they only attacked where the Rangers were. They didn't go to any other cities or attack any. No, they always attack wherever the Rangers are. It's stupid. Attack another place, then you can build up your army.
Pretty much.
It's almost like it's written horribly.
I know, almost. But yeah, so Jafar is my number one. He's always been my favorite villain. He probably always will be. And just to make the point again that Marcus made earlier to confirm that he was in fact correct, that unlike Pat Carroll, yes, he did play live action Jafar on Broadway.
Yes, he did. I mentioned that.
There he is, right there.
Is that Marcus with a little hat on?
It is. And
I have to say that staff is awesome.
I know it's badass, isn't it? But yeah, Jonathan Freeman also maintains that that one single-mindedness of the character in the Broadway production as well. Jonathan Freeman had played him. Yeah, Jonathan Freeman had played him in the original versions that were on stage years ago when they had done them out on the West Coast near Marcus's Way, and he returned to play the character in the actual Broadway production currently. Although, of course, there are obviously some other stage productions occurring on cruise lines and in shows that he's, of course, not in. And for those of you wondering who the little Jeff-looking dude is, that's Iago because he's a dude and not a bird in the Broadway show. Go figure.
And I mentioned, I don't like the
Iago.
outfit.
That was like a poo. You don't like the outfit?
Are you saying you look like
No.
a monkey?
I don't like that outfit. The staff looks kind of cool, maybe, but the outfit itself, I don't like that as Jafar's outfit.
And that does not look like an Iago outfit. That looks like an Apu outfit.
When we're done with the recording, I'll show you another picture of him in the outfit, and you'll see it actually does look kind of like an Iago outfit.
Fair enough.
But yes, my number one, Jafar, always my favorite Disney villain, probably always will be. Boom.
I don't know. I think the outfit looks okay. It looks Jafar-ish. Probably looks a little more Maleficent than Jafar, but
That's the thing. They kind of made it more of a straight up and down robe rather than the way it was in where Jafar had the belt and the big shoulder pads and the red and black contrast. There was a little less of that on stage. Part of that might be because animated Jafar had a certain physique, and Jonathan Freeman is kind of old and does not.
fair enough.
So I don't know. But anyway, let's take it over to Chriz the Mole for your number one.
Boom. I give to you Scar. The single greatest villain, in my opinion, from Disney, and I'm hearing loud noises for no reason. Is that Pew? Alright, okay. I was gonna say, yeah, Jafar. Jafar. Like you mentioned, Jim, he attacked Agrabah and stuff like that. What happened when Jafar was removed from Agrabah? The answer, it was the same. Scar took over the entire Pride Lands, and the rivers dried up, the grass died. He was removed for like 2 seconds by like the hyenas eating him, and boom, all the grass and rivers and light and stuff comes back. Canon. That's at the end of the film, and it's like, so literally just his mere presence brings death to an entire Pride Land. His mere presence. That's how bad he is.
I make the point that there had to be some time passed because there had to be some time between Simba roaring on top of the cliff and having enough time to bone Nala and have a cub. So
possibly, but
It was when they were singing Hakuna Matata. That's when it happened.
Nala wasn't there for Hakuna Matata.
Yeah,
No,
but I was going to say, I will make the point, Jim. There may have been a little bit of time afterwards, but it's still pretty effective as a demonstration when you see the film. With him there, the Pride Land's completely ruined. Without him, boom, healthy, thriving. He is evil. He is jealous of Mufasa as well, which sort of adds to another level of his character that other Disney villains don't have. Most are like, boo, I don't like you because I'm evil. Scar's like, yeah, I don't like you because I should have been king. And he even says to Mufasa, oh no, I'm afraid you got the lion's share and all that stuff, when he's like, acting all cowardly, but when you suddenly realize he's like the most ruthless guy around. He is a great villain. He's just ruthless, evil. He's even willing to kill his own brother, and he tried to kill his own nephew. When that didn't work, he just mentally abuses the shit out of him, ruins an entire Pride land, keeps fucking Zazu in a cage to sing songs at him, probably sleeps with the lionesses, to the point where we see the lionesses with Mufasa, and they're all nice lionesses. In the sequel, Lion King 2, we clearly see Scar's influence on one lioness, and look what happened to her.
Yep.
Thank you. That's how evil he is. Thank you.
Don't forget, tried to rape Nala. Never forget that.
I forget it because it wasn't actually in the version I watched. It wasn't in The Lion King or anything like that, so it's not canon to the animated one. And if it's on the shitty Broadway play, I don't give a shit.
Okay.
Fuck.
Well, I guess we're not going to Marcus next.
Just give it 2 seconds to stop ringing. Because I'm not going to answer that one.
You could pick up the phone and then just hang up, or be like, "Hey, voicemail, yo, bye." Whatever, it's cool.
That's not you have to give it a chance to go to voicemail.
Yeah, you realize if you pick a phone up, it doesn't then go to voicemail, right?
Or just pick the phone up and keep it off the hook so no one can call you.
Yeah, no. But, so let me get my image.
And they are standing in a row.
My number one. There's my number one. The original Disney villain. From what I read, the bio and article of him, because I did a little research for him too. Because I do love Pete. He's awesome. He's the original villain. He's Mickey's arch nemesis. He's also one of the only 3 Disney villains, at least as of the time of the writing of that article, the bio, where he does stuff because he's evil. All the other villains, they are evil, but that's not why they do stuff. They're evil because of the stuff they do. He's one of the only 3 that does stuff because he's evil. The other 2, of course, being Maleficent and Chernabog.
To be fair, a load of them do stuff just because they're evil. A load of Disney villains do that just because they're evil. That's like their only motivation is like Pew mentioned Cruella de Vil. She only went after those puppies because she was evil.
No, she went after the difference is she went after the difference is if she just wanted to murder puppies, then she would have been evil. She went after the puppies because she wanted a fur coat. Yes, that's not ethical, but that was a reasoning. Same as Jafar. Jafar's psychotic.
That was a reasoning, but I make the point she only did it because she was evil. Hence why, even before she wanted the Dalmatians, the guy sung the song about how evil she was, to the point where, as we all know, her last name is literally the word devil.
And also, if she really wanted to just get puppies, she could have adopted a whole bunch of puppies and fucking killed them. She had a personal vendetta against these 13 and plus the other 99 that joined them, wanted to kill these motherfucking puppies. These specific puppies I want to fucking murder and wear their skin as like a badge of...
Did you say 13 and 99?
13, like there was original like 13 that Pongo and Purdy had, and then the 13 are joined by like other puppies that make the 99. Or 101 then, I guess. Or whatever.
Well, it's 99 puppies plus Pongo and Perdita.
Okay,
Yeah.
There you go.
It makes exactly 101.
Okay, anyway, the thing is, she wants those specific puppies. She could have just went to any other puppies, any other country, and fucking murdered them, but she had a vendetta against these specific puppies.
Which is why she had a purpose behind the evil. The fact that she wanted these specific puppies and these specific dogs means she had a reason for what she was doing, whether it was right or wrong, good or evil. She had a reason for what she was doing. No, if she was just out and out evil, exactly what you said, she could have just gone to the pound and gotten puppies. And if she just started just mass killing puppies and dogs left and right, okay, that would have been for evil. But because she wanted those, she had something against those specific dogs, made her not necessarily evil. Yes, she was evil, but she wasn't doing it because she was evil. She's doing it because she had something against those dogs.
Fair enough, but if you're going by that, technically isn't Pete the same way? Because when he was Goofy's neighbor in Goof Troop, most of the stuff he did was because he was either annoyed by Goofy or because he was jealous of Goofy and his son or anything like that.
That's when they started to lighten him up and make him more of a good guy. But when he was out and out villain, like as like say Mickey's arch nemesis and stuff like that, and in things where he's been portrayed as the out and out evil villain, he's done things just because he's evil. It's not like the arch nemesis of Mickey. It's not that he hated Mickey or anything, or it's not because he had anything against Mickey. It's just because he's evil and Mickey is good. So fuck it, I'm evil. I have to go against you.
He always wanted what Mickey had. He wants to be like the lazy slacker. He wants Mickey's good. He just wants to fuck around with Mickey.
Fair enough.
And just as it said, Pete's motivation is, he's just outright evil, and certain instances when he is outright evil. But Pete's motivation has always been that he wants what Mickey has that he will never have. He wants the fact that everybody likes him, the fact that everybody wants to hang out and be around them, the fact that he has a girlfriend that loves and cares about him. Pete wants all that, and he knows he will never have it. That's even driven the character to this day. Even if you like Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, one of the more recent games, when you go to Disney Town, and Pete's there's a contest going on called the Million Dreams Contest, where basically all the town votes on who the best citizen in the town is, and they give them a nice award. And Pete runs around dressed like a superhero called Captain Justice, and another one called Captain Dark, trying to win over votes so that he can succeed, because he wants to be accepted and liked by people. He just doesn't know how to do that because he's naturally a jerk.
Yeah, which is fair enough. But I will say, as Marcus was talking about him as a villain, I do like him. I always considered him the villain of Goof Troop. I know he was Mickey's villain first. I mentioned that the other day as like Steamboat Mickey era type stuff. And stuff like that, but I just loved him as the neighbor on Goof Troop.
Yeah. He was originally Mickey's arch nemesis and Oswald's too. They needed a villain for Oswald, and they're like, "Fuck it, give him Pete." So Pete is literally basically what evil is in Disney, because he is just out and out evil, and he is the arch nemesis of quite arguably Disney's two biggest characters of Mickey and Oswald, the two originals.
Yeah, Pete is actually Disney's oldest and longest recurring character, because he originally appeared in the Alice comedies in the early 20s before Oswald was even created. Yeah. Pete is the longest recurring character in Disney's history.
He is, which I was making the case to you, Marcus, of I like Pete. Like I said, I really loved him as the in my opinion, as a villain. Of Goof Troop when he was the neighbor. I think he had a son and stuff. And it was like, I just liked him in that role of the disgruntled neighbor. I don't know why.
He had a son, Pete Jr.
I also love that Pete is so prevalent and so much of a villain that he's had multiple personas. Like you see him there, he's like the ship captain, but he's also been like a pirate captain. He's, as you said, Mole, he was like dressed as a superhero or whatever. He's had so many different iterations and incarnations, and he's so much of just an overall Disney villain, of Disney in general, not just Mickey, but specifically Mickey, yes, but of Disney in general, that he's inserted himself into many different Disney properties over the years because he's that fucking evil, and he's just like, no, fuck you, I'm evil, you're good, I'm going to fucking try to stop you. And of course it never works because the good guy always wins. But
which I am glad you put him on your list. Just because, as I mentioned in the past to people, I'm a little sick of lazy writing like Kingdom Hearts and that Kingdom Keepers Jim read, where they're like, Maleficent's the oldest, let's just put her in charge of the villains for a lot of the portions of time. It's like, okay, why? She's not the most powerful.
I believe the reasoning behind Maleficent.
Because they've also had gods and stuff. Yeah. So if you go with, if you want oldest, then Pete, why does he always get screwed? I believe lazy writing.
Yeah, Maleficent wasn't ever the oldest, because even the Evil Queen was the first of the feature film Disney villains. However, Maleficent is generally considered to be the most evil. That's why she's usually the leader.
Well, as our list just pointed out, no, she's not. Just quite literally a flaw in that reasoning.
Yeah, I would also say if that's why she's picked. What about other villains? There's other ones who are more evil. I'd argue Hades is more evil, as he's literally the god of evil. Well, underworld, but literally the evil god. You don't get that by being nice.
In all fairness, that impersonation of Hades has been twisted over the years. Originally, Hades was just the god of the underworld, and yeah, he resented it a little bit, but that's just what he was. Hades has only been turned evil as the stories have been told and anglicized over years and years. That's the only reason Hades became evil. In the original Greek mythology, Hades was not outright evil. He just happened to be the god of the underworld, and people inherently perceive the underworld as bad, and so he was adapted to be evil.
Well, if we're including other versions, then Maleficent's just a whiny little bitch who happens to look like Lara Croft, who had her wings cut and decided to be evil, but not really evil, as she secretly watched over the baby because she was good.
Mhm.
Let's not do that.
Bro. You're right. You're right. I'm just saying that different incarnations. It is what it is, and in this case, yeah, Pete certainly gets overlooked way too much, and I do agree with that. And I found out something interesting because I considered Pete for my list, and I read that same article Marcus mentions, and I found out I didn't know Pete is a cat. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Also, I love that Pete's been around for so long and has been around in so many things that he's become a true three-dimensional character because he's had different motivations. He's had redemptions and non-redemptions. And he's just an out-and-out great character, which makes him a great villain because he has a bunch of different angles that he works. But at the root of it, he's just evil. He's there to be a bad guy.
Have you ever seen him on Mickey Mouse's Clubhouse? And I don't mean House of Mouse. I mean the actual one that was like Dora the Explorer. He is so fun on that. Like, he'll show up and he'll try and like fuck him over, but then suddenly he'll turn around and realize that the only reason he was doing that is he was left out at the birthday party. Or he wanted ice cream too. Which is true to his character, but in like a real childish way. I kind of like that too. He's just great. He can be like you said, he can be, I don't know what you would call it, but molded to fit almost any build with how they did it. Almost like how Mickey can.
Right, which is why he makes such a great antagonist for Mickey, because he's literally anti-Mickey.
Mickey's the villain of Mickey's Clubhouse, if you want to like get at that, because he just fucking inserts.
I've mentioned that before now.
He just ruins everyone and insults everyone. I'm the fucking hero.
Not everyone. He's just really abusive towards Goofy and that, and I don't like that. But is it weird? I never considered Pete to be Mickey's rival. I know he is, but I never considered that. I don't know why. It might just be certain cartoons I've watched and stuff. I always considered Donald Mickey's rival. Sort of like the Bugs Daffy relationship.
Yeah. Well, Donald is Mickey's rival. Like, basically, Donald is, say, Mickey's Vegeta to Mickey's Goku, but Pete is Mickey's arch nemesis. He's like the villain. He's like the fucking like, I don't know, like the Broly to his Goku, or like the Frieza to his Goku. He's the out-and-out evil guy. He's not there for the rival. He's not there to try to be better than Mickey. He just wants him fucking dead.
well, as Jim pointed out, he also wants everything Mickey has, which like I said, he has a sort of a rivalry relationship. But I was just thinking, whenever I think of villain of Mickey, I always go Donald, and I don't know why. I shouldn't. That shouldn't be a thing. But I do love Pete. He's wonderful. I do like Pete. Like I mentioned to you the other day, I mentioned in this, I'm sick of him always being overlooked too. Even in a game that featured like Epic Mickey, where it featured both Mickey and Oswald, he still wasn't the main villain.
No, but I do like the fact that they used him a lot, because there's like 2 or 3 different versions of Pete in that game. I'm like, that's awesome that they're like, you know what? There's been so many Petes. Let's just have different alternate versions of Pete. One that's going to help you, one that's going to try to fuck you over.
Yeah, I completely agree with the fact they did use him, and they did use him well. But in my opinion, like how you described with Mickey and Oswald, he should have been the main villain. He shouldn't have been relegated to Cyberman territory.
Right, or at least like he should have at least been like the Goldar, because I can understand them wanting to use a different villain for the story they're going with. Because honestly, if you go with the story of Epic Mickey, it doesn't make sense for Pete to be the one to have instigated it all, because basically
Phantom Blot.
Yeah, because it would mean Pete wanted basically to erase his own existence, which wouldn't have made sense. But it might have made sense for him to be working with the Phantom Blot and kind of being the enforcer and the Goldar.
Yeah, but you could also tweak the story of being like he wants to erase Mickey's existence so everyone likes him.
True.
And stuff like that. You know what I mean? You could tweak it. I mean, it's like when we've mentioned before now, such and such should have been the villain here, not this one. It's like the story may make sense for this villain, but you just need, if you tweak it, you can easily make the other one fit better. Yeah. But I like Pete, and I like his little hat you got him pictured in.
Yeah, that's actually the official Pete image used in the. I earlier mentioned the Disney Villains franchise line. That's his official appearance, because when most people think of Pete, most people don't remember. Nobody really remembers, except for people who write wiki articles, that Pete was, fought Oswald and was in those early Alice comedies. So Captain Pete and Steamboat Mickey is what most people remember as being the original Pete.
Yep, and that's up to me. And hence why, if you look down in the lower left-hand corner of the image, it says Disney Vault on it.
Yep.
Yep,
Also, I like to make the argument that if you'd like to see an awesome parade of Pete's, I recommend playing what I have, the Super Nintendo game Mickey Mania, in which the end boss of each level is a Pete.
Yep.
And in which the final boss is, and I quote from the game's marketing material, the biggest, meanest Pete Mickey's ever seen.
Nice. Which, yeah, like I said, I will say, like we were talking about, which may be a discussion for another time to go into it more, but I'm just sick of Disney, or like I said, the lazy writing, always making it Maleficent who's the top villain. That's why, take Once Upon a Time, the live-action show. I loved the fact it was both the evil queen from Snow White and Rumpelstiltskin for a lot of it at the same time, and they introduce other villains when they become nicer and stuff. It's like, that works. Because it's like whenever I'm playing any game now and it's evolving around Disney, half of me is just like, oh, it's going to be Maleficent. And yep, it will be. It's like, oh, I don't care. You know what I mean? It's stop overrating her. It's like you mentioned Broly. It's like you mentioned Broly. The first movie with Broly, he was great. I'm sick of seeing him in every Dragon Ball Z game as being more powerful than what he was supposed to be, where he's levels, same to Super Saiyan 3 or 4 or Fusion 4 or Gods and stuff. It's like, no, he's not this strong. Fuck off. A Super Saiyan 2 would easily kill Broly. Fact.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
And in case you don't know, Jim, a Super Saiyan 2 is what occurs after 1 but before 3. Thank you.
Got it.
Actually, an Ultimate Super Saiyan, any of the Ultimate Super Saiyan forms could probably kill Broly, because the lack of speed in that form would be a non-issue considering how fucking big Broly is.
Yes, but
You'd still be faster than him.
No, Broly's big, but he's fast as fuck. He literally grabs Goku and goes right into the side of a building multiple times in the first film. He is fast as fuck.
I still think a USSJ would be able to keep up with him, but fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Or if anything, at USSJ, at least it'd make him powerful enough so you could start shrugging off his stuff. So yeah, okay, you're fast, you still can't hurt me because I'm more powerful than you are.
Possibly, yeah. Although, I believe Super Saiyan 2 is stronger than them too. I think Broly might be able to deal with them, because he's basically... Imagine Trunks when he had that form. He's basically that, but even
with
better.
Speed.
With speed and with more power.
Fair enough.
Almost like they ripped off the design because they were lazy.
They kind of did, yes.
Nah, I wouldn't go that far.
You know what? Now that you mentioned it, I hadn't even thought about that. But yeah, if you look at the hair and everything, they kind of did.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yep.
Yeah, if you take Trunks without the ponytail, yeah, they kind of did. But yes, so Pete is my number one because Pete's awesome.
And Pete likes him because he's a cat.
Exactly.
Meow, baby. Meow.
By the way, also, since Mo, two things, since they were brought up. Number one, since Mo mentioned, I will say, while I don't really watch the show, I have seen some stuff about it on the internet, and I love the fact that in Once Upon a Time, Jafar is played by freaking Naveen Andrews, because that dude is awesome.
Fair enough. I don't know who he is, but fair enough.
I'm not sure. I knew he was coming in. I've seen the pictures and stuff. I just haven't actually got to the part where he's in it. Because over here, Once Upon a Time was cancelled. Well, not cancelled, but not airing. Fucking stupid thing. During season 3, we didn't get any of series 3, and now they're on series 4 or 5 in America. And we've only Netflix has recently just purchased the rights to it and is showing it. And is showing. Yeah, I'm saying, and basically they're now showing season 3 and season 4 and stuff to catch us up on Netflix. So yeah, I'll be catching up on that. I'll be catching up on that soon when my Vampire Diaries Flash and Arrows end.
But yeah, if you're wondering, Jeff, Naveen Andros, he played I can't remember the character's name, but he was on Lost. He was one of the main characters on Lost.
Never saw Lost, so yeah.
Fair enough. Anyway. So yeah, there was that, and there was something else I was going to mention, but I can't remember what it is. So I'm sorry.
Once Upon a Time does actually have a couple of people from Lost too.
It does, yeah. Because I think isn't one of the
was in Lost. Damon.
Yeah. Nice. And isn't one of the princesses played by the blonde chick from Lost that was also on V?
Yep, she plays. If it's the one I'm thinking of, I didn't see the remake of V, but if it's the one I'm thinking of, yeah, she plays Belle.
Ah, nice.
If she was also the one that was in Roswell.
Oh no, I know who you're thinking of. She was also in Lost, not the one I was thinking of, but she was also from Lost. Yes, I know who you're thinking of with that one. That's Emile de Ravine, however you pronounce her name. No, I was thinking of Elizabeth Mitchell.
But I believe it's Pew's number one.
It is Pew number one. Goo.
Yay! About time. Okay, so my number one is literally the evilest evil that could ever be evil. The origin of evil before it existed, there wasn't a thing. Like, it created evil. We also have to say, like, hey, this thing needs a name, so we're gonna call it evil. So basically, it's the original evil, the fucking devil, Chernobog, or whatever the fuck his name is.
Chernobog, you got it.
Yeah, Chernobog. He's a fucking devil. He has, like, skeletons, like, stealing fucking souls underneath him, like, and friggin' bodies withering away. He literally is the fucking devil. He's the origin of evil. You can't, like, beat that.
I will say to you, Pew, just because someone is the devil does not make them an overly great or threatening villain. I point you to Cow and Chicken.
But this one is. He just literally has, like, hundreds of freaking demons and skeletons and monsters at his command.
I know, I like Chernobog. I just really... The red guy from Cow and Chicken never gets mentioned enough.
And I would put it to you, he's not the devil, he's a Mayan god.
He's a fucking devil.
He was supposed to be like incarnate of the devil, but his physical appearance was a combination of a minotaur and a Mayan.
But he's basically the fucking devil.
But he was stated to be the incarnation of Satan. Yes.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Basically like Gozo, as it took the form of the Marshmallow Man. Cool.
Exactly.
Okay.
But not cool as a Marshmallow Man.
No, not at all.
He's got, like, his freaking horns, he's got the wings, he's literally in hell, and you can see, like, fires and souls burning.
Yep.
And the music just makes it fucking awesome. Like, it just, like, really intense in Fantasia, and rarely... Rarely is something like this...
Fantasia 2000.
Oh, you're with everybody else.
Yep.
Like, normally, like... You have something that embodies evil, but is not, like, the evil, It's not, like, the center of evil. Normally Disney has, like, a villain, but this is, like, no, this is where all the villains, like, I imagine, come back. This is their hub. This is, like, the original evil, where all the other people, like, their evil spirits come from.
All right, then.
I just imagine, like, anyone who's ever been possessed by evil, their spirit was originated in here, and he sent out one of his minions, and either corrupted their mind or created their, created their soul for a purpose, to work to his will.
Yep.
Maybe he even helped out Frollo a bit.
But I believe it's Jim to take us out.
Indeed it is.
And let's give an honourable mention, in case Rick the Hammer's watching this, because I know he really likes this villain. Let's give an honourable mention to Syndrome.
Nice.
I had considered Syndrome, but yeah, I have to say I'm glad that the three Disney villains that would be considered just out and out evil for evil's sake have been represented on these lists. That makes me happy.
Is that Oogie Boogie?
No, like I said before,
I know,
and
I know. I was making a joke because Oogie Boogie is my number 2. Literally, he's the embodiment of all fear and evil. He's not evil for some sort of motivation much. He's literally just the embodiment of evil because Halloween Town.
Fair enough.
Pretty much.
Kidnap the Santa. And he wanted to kill Santa. That's pretty evil.
No. His name is Sandy. Get it right.
That's only in the song of Kidnap the Sandy Claus, or when Jack says it himself as Sandy Claus. But he is Santa Claus.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
But anyway, yes, this has been a look at our top 5 Disney villains from animated productions. Thank you 3 for joining me for this wonderful look at this.
Yeah, you're welcome. And next month, let's do Mothers for Mother's Day.
Not a bad idea. Next month we'll count down the top 5 TV mothers. Stay tuned.
And do you mean television or transvestite?
Both.
Nice.
Why not? Alrighty,
And-
well, thank you for joining me.
Just to make the joke, Pew, would it be cheating if I put Cam on my list for Modern Family?
Is that the flamboyantly gay dude?
Yeah, it's the fat gay dude on the on the show. They even gave him Mother's Day cards, and they kept talking to him about being a mother. It's like, I'm not a woman. Why does everyone always treat me like I don't want to be the mother? I want to be a father like you.
Mm. And the ironic thing about that is, of those two actors, he's the one that's actually straight in real life.
He is, which is awesome. He's also in American Horror and stuff, which is pretty cool.
Nice. Anyway, so thank you for joining me. This has been a look at Disney villains. We'll see you next month for a look at top 5 TV mothers. Stay tuned. Almost immediately following this, if you want to take a look at Around the Pound, when we're going to join Marcus Shadow to take a look at the trailer for the upcoming hit film, Tomorrowland.
Yep, and hopefully that one goes well.
Ah. Hang on, where's my, There we go. Alright, well, I'm James Phoenix. We'll see you next time. Peace.